Hey everybody, welcome to the workshop. On today's episode, I'm going to be building a ramp, or maybe modifying a ramp. When I bought this new property, it came with a shed on it, and I've got a new mower that I want to be able to park inside of it and be able to put other yard implements in there as well to keep them out of the garage, because the garage is going to be my shop as I get to working it out. So, in order to be able to get my mower inside of there, I need a ramp. And it has a ramp. Unfortunately, it's at way too steep of an angle. So, every time that you drive the mower up onto it, the deck gets hung right there because it's just too steep. It needs to be out a little bit so that angle is not so great and I'm not getting hung every time I hit that little lip right there as I'm going into the door. So, on today's episode, I'm not sure if I'm going to be just building a whole brand new ramp or just modifying it. I'm probably going to modify it to help save a little bit of money. So we'll see as I get through it. So stick with me on today's episode of Adam's Workshop. All right, everybody. When it comes to this ramp, it's in pretty good shape. I don't really see any reason to get rid of it completely. What I need to do is to raise it up some so that way the angle is less. So I've already bought some 10-foot 2x4s that I'm going to put on here, but what they have done is around about here. Typically you'll see when you build a deck, you angle the top part, and then when you get down here you'll angle it again so that way it sits nice and flat on the ground. And what they did was they cut the top part of the 2x4 here in order to bring it down instead of cutting the bottom of it, which is more traditional. And when they did that, it makes it for a real big curve right here. Plus, this thing is actually sitting in the dirt. That's something we do not want to do. But I don't want to just get rid of this altogether. So what I'm going to do is take off these bottom couple of boards, and then I'm going to cut this where they started the angle at. So then what I'll do is I'll actually put the new 2x4s up underneath here and just screw them to the existing ones, because the rest of it bolted to the shed is actually in good shape and there's really no problem with it. There's no reason to just get rid of all of this when it's still perfectly good. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, now that I got those 3 boards off, you can see right here is that transition where they cut it down. So instead of it coming straight out, it comes up to here, angles down further. So just doesn't make for a good walking or trying to drive up onto it with being such a steep angle. So I'm going to take this back to the shop and I'm going to cut each one of these at this spot to get rid of this. Then after that, we'll put the new boards up underneath here and then tack these to here, so that way we get to continue to use the top portion, because I don't see any reason in wasting money to redo the top when everything is okay. If I need to replace these boards, then that'll be fine in the future. But for right now, as far as I can tell, these 2x4s are in really good shape, and so we're just going to add to it to make it longer. Alright, now we're set up to cut these ends off, and you may be wondering why I'm using my jigsaw instead of a circular saw. Well, I don't own a circular saw, so I'm not going to go off and buy one just for this one cut here I got to make on these 4 boards. So we'll just make do with what I got. It works just fine. So here we go. Alright, now the next step in this process is I'm going to take my 2x4, this is going to be my runner all the way down, and I'm going to take a piece of board here, put it up to here, like so. And by doing this, this gives me the approximate angle of what this board is going to be like. And so now what I'm going to do is take a piece of 2x4 here, put it up against here to about where it's going to sit on the ground. And now I'm going to take my pencil and scribe a line. This is going to tell me where I want to cut so I can have an angle that I can smoothly roll up onto it when I drive my tractor up onto it. So I'm going to cut 4 of these, and then we'll come back, and afterwards we're going to put them up inside of here, and then we're going to attach them to here. So that's going to be the next couple of steps. Alright, this cut doesn't have to be perfect, just needs to be in the ballpark, at least for me. And if it seems like this video is bouncing around quite a bit, it's because me and my camera both keep getting overheated, so I keep having to do just little bits at a time. So keep that in mind when you're working outside. Try to make sure that you stay hydrated, stay cool. Don't let yourself get too overworked or overheated just because you want to hurry up and try to get the job done. It's still going to be there. Take care of yourselves. Alright, now that I've got all of these cut and installed, I've put a board up underneath here to elevate it off the ground, because now what I'm going to do is actually dig out the ground a little bit, because I've got some pavers that I want to go up underneath here, so that way the wood is not sitting directly on the ground, because that's the fastest way to create rot on your boards that you spend hard-earned money on, is having them sit right on the ground. So I got some pavers, one for each one to sit on, and then I've also got some decorative rock to kind of match somewhat what I've got over here to just make it look a little bit better and have a smooth transition the best I can onto the ramp. So that's going to be the next thing I got to do. All right, now that I've got everything dug out below the ground line here, now the next thing I'm going to do is take my dirt and backfill these and make sure these are level. Then I've got some rock over here and I'm going to fill everything in with rock. So that way it just kind of gives more of a decorative look, since that's what I've already got going around the property anyways. And that'll just make it look nice and neat and even, and make for a good transition to go from the ground up to the first board once I put that on. So I've also got new boards to be the planks to go across here as well, and I'll be cutting those. I got 2 by 10 by 10s, and I'll be cutting those in half for 5-foot lengths, and then that'll be the next process after this. Alright, now that I got everything taken care of out there, all the rock has been laid, you'll see that here in a minute. I went to the store and got some 2 by 10s, and I'm going to cut these in half so I have 5-foot lengths, and just going to use those now. I'm not like other YouTubers. I don't have just anything and everything lying around as scrap wood. I have to go get brand new stuff, and I'm here to tell you, stuff is not cheap. But it's okay, because I budgeted for this project. So let's get to work. Alright, now I got all the boards cut, and I've got them just sitting up here, nothing screwed down right now. As you can see, I got all the rock and everything put down here. These are sitting on the pavers. They're just all covered up by the rock right now. But everything is here. Everything runs up to it pretty good. So I've got everything ready to go. So now I have decided to, up front here, where I've got the old boards, these right here I've decided to go ahead and take off. I was going to keep them originally, but I'm going to take them off now that I got all the new wood. And up here on the front, I'm not sure if the 2x4 is going to fit up underneath here when I do it, so I may end up having to do a little bit of adjustment to make it fit. So that's going to be my next project, or next part of the project. Take these out and then see about getting the 2x4 to sit up underneath there properly. Alright, I got the first 2x4 mounted in place. I was a little concerned why I thought I might need to have it fitted was because it's pretty darn close to the bottom of the door here, and I was afraid it was going to rub. But once I got it mounted down, it's in a good position, and everything is opening and closing just as it should. I was concerned because, as you can see, here's the original wood, and this is probably about almost a 1/2 inch thinner than this wood. I think they use fence pickets for the first ramp, which can't blame them. I mean, after all, they are cheaper than 2x4s. So, but I want the 2x4 because that gives me a little bit more height when it hits the corner right here when you go up into the shed. So that gives me a little bit more height, and I want it to be the same all the way down. I didn't like how it had it and then it curved down. I want everything to be nice and even and straight as it goes down. So now what I'm using is these 3-inch deck screws for the rest of it. And so now it's just a matter of giving a little bit of space in between so that way we have some water drainage. And now it's just time to start screwing them in. All right, everybody. The ramp is finished. All I got left to do is to clear up some of the loose debris and wood. But as you can see, the ramp is completely done. Everything is looking good. It's nice and solid. It's not moving around. I've already driven the lawnmower up and down it multiple times. Sucker's nice and solid. I was concerned that at the base of the door it was going to rub, but it's not rubbing. It's just the right height. Everything is looking really good and it's performing really well. All right, everybody. Now the project is completed and everything has gone really well. I'm really happy with it, how it performs. I do apologize that I couldn't get better video of it, but by the time that I got done explaining what I was about to do, the camera was overheating. So it's just been so hot. Probably should have waited until fall, not be here in the middle of summertime, but I really needed to get that job done because in order to get my shop set up, I've got to get the mower and the other yard care implements out of here and into the shed so that way I have some room to work. So now that I've got that done, I've still got some more cleanup to do and all, but this is the first step in getting the shop ready to go. So I do have a couple other things that I'm going to do and make some videos on, so stay tuned for that. So I appreciate you coming along, and I'll see y'all again next time in the workshop.